Greetings, friends, and welcome to another episode of The Mistake Zone, your weekly dose of our lives and the mistakes within them. My name is Jaren Wade. Joining me, as always, is one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt Alba. Hey, Matt.
Yo.
How are you doing this week?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Matt, that's great. I think this was a really beefy week in the world of video games and anime, kind of. Probably an anime, but, with the Mistake Zone, since we're anime adjacent, we don't have to hit on those cylinders that often. But Matt, in terms of games, I think there are a lot of different things we can talk about coming, starting with the Nintendo Direct that happened last week or earlier this week. The latest Sony State of Play, Tokyo Game Show. I know for me personally, Matt, new seasons of Fall Guys and Fortnite just began. And Matt, me and you, we jammed in Splatoon 3 this week, which, Matt, I don't know about you, but I get really frustrated with Splatoon 3 sometimes.
Jaren,
but before we get into the thick of things, how has any updates from you with Splatoon 3?
Jaren, I hate Splatoon 3. Oh my god. Dude, I don't know if it's just like maybe recency bias for me, but for some reason, competitive in Splatoon to me feels much more sweaty than any other competitive game I remember playing. Like, I feel more stressed playing competitive Splatoon than I did ever like playing, like Apex or PUBG or anything like that. I don't know why.
I honestly don't know what it is either, Matt. For some reason, maybe it's because in my head I have this, this unfair mentality of, Nintendo's the baby system. Look at all these Nintendo-year-olds. And every time, no matter if it was Splatoon 2 and now Splatoon 3, I'll jump into ranked and I just get this huge feeling of anxiety. And not to mention when I try to wind down with either Salmon Run or Turf War, and Matt, there are different things in both those modes, whether it be Salmon Run, your promotion rating, or with Turf War, your freshness meter for the current weapon you're using there. Splatoon is this casual, easygoing, pure vibe shooter, yet there are so many, meters or ratings or rankings here and there that gut me, Matt, where even though this is supposed to be all about the vibe, sometimes it kills my vibe, Matt. I hate to say.
Sure, I hate seeing my letter go down.
I don't know what it is, Matt. Maybe because it's that notion of, again, I feel like I think I'm a lot better at Splatoon than I actually am. And that's what's crushing me, Matt. I know this is probably one of those get good situations, but at the same time, it's just me pouting, going, I should have won that game. But
yeah.
Plus, it doesn't help, Matt, that, with me, I love playing dress up in all the games I play. And Matt, let's just say, not really getting any good roles in the shops, not getting any good roles in the Nintendo app shop. And Matt, I don't like how my Inkling looks.
Yeah, I got fast at it. I realized that I need to stack this special up and just spam specials.
I was gonna ask you, Matt, what are like the go-to passives for you? Normally, I kind of, I try to stack as much as I can. Ink refill and less ink consumption for your main weapon, but I think I would stack special a lot more if I found a special I actually liked. But I know I asked you last week, but 1 week later, are there any passives you're trying to stack?
One passive I'll always keep on is like the main one for last ditch effort, and depending on the weapon, I'm either gonna put like ink main and ink recovery, or I'm going to stack special charge up or special saver, depending on which one I think I need more.
Matt, with you stacking your specials, is there a special that you're feeling a lot more than all the others?
I like Tentamissiles is a very good spammable special, just because of like how global range it is, and I like Booyah Bomb, like that's pretty good too.
I want Tenta missiles so bad, but of course, Matt, when it comes to Turf War, I'm a dirty Aerospray user, and I have that shark, whatever, I feel like the shark special, where you zoom straight and then you explode when you choose when to explode.
Yeah, reef slider.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm really bad with it, but I seem to be killed with it a lot when I fight other arrow people. But yeah, Matt, as you said last week, this is just more Splatoon. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's just a good game. Sure, I get frustrated, but there are a lot of different things that I still haven't explored. I haven't touched single player. I think you mentioned it last week, but there's like a card game here. I think I'm not sure if they took out the rhythm game, but I remember liking the rhythm game in Splatoon 2.
Yeah, the rhythm game isn't in 3. Or at least not yet.
There's always updates. in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm feeling Splatoon 3. And one of the things that impresses me the most, I guess what I'm usually impressed with by any first-party Nintendo game is just how smoothly it runs on the Switch, how it takes advantage of the hardware. It ends up looking great, solid frame rate. And the reason I bring that up is, Matt, before we dive into the beefiness of this week, I need to mention that I've been playing a lot of Fall Guys as well. Season 2 of, the Fall Guys went free to play last season, and now this is season 2 of the free to play version. And Matt, 2 things about this that I want to mention. One, I was really looking forward to the Battle Pass this season just because Hatsune Miku has a skin. Unfortunately, her skin set unlocks fully by tier 99, which is essentially the second last unlock. So that means, Matt,
you have a lot of
don't get to play as Miku.
No, bro, you got a lot of grinding.
Have a lot of grinding, and I'm going to hate myself for it. And 2, Matt, it added a lot of new games. These games are pretty, let's say, screen intensive, and that, honestly, it runs really bad. I'm like floored at how bad it runs on the Nintendo Switch, especially in handheld mode. Matt, I'm used to at least, a firm 30 when I'm playing Fall Guys on the Switch. Just because this is space themed, and for some of the newer space levels, it's a notable sub 30. Damn. It does that thing where your costume doesn't fully load until a few minutes within the game. So you'll start off as your basic bean. You have to run for a bit before your entire costume loads. So it's pretty jarring because my base skin, I guess, like for your basic bean is like an avocado. So I'm running around as this avocado imprint before I became Kazuna AI, but Matt, I don't know. I think I have to retire the Switch version because, of course, it will run better on one of the other consoles or the PC. But I think for just easily to play it in bed, like Switch was my go-to just to bang out a few dailies before bed. But I don't think I can do it anymore just because parts of it just feels unplayable.
Damn.
But yeah, that's mostly it for me, Matt. Anything that has gotten your attention this week in terms of, what you've been up to, what you've been playing, what you've been watching?
I mean, this is maybe a peek into next week, but man, that Cyberpunk anime is pretty good.
Matt, are you telling me that we're going to re-enter the anime mistake zone next week with Cyberpunk Edge Runners?
You know it.
Yeah, before as you said, we're going to save that. That's going to be next week's episode where we touch upon all 10 episodes of the anime, as well as kind of, I know we alluded to it a few weeks ago when we discussed Saints Row, but we'll touch upon, some of our experience with the game at launch, if we were planning to go back, especially with the post-launch DLC. But yeah, Matt, as a little preview from what little I've watched of Edge Runners so far, I'm like pleasantly surprised at how much I've been into it. And also it kind of made me want to play Cyberpunk because, okay, it takes place technically in the same world as the game, but, just the anime aesthetics make me want to play that version of Cyberpunk 2077 than, what we have right now. But aesthetics, the vibes, I'm really impressed and can't wait to dive into that with you next week, Matt. But shall we just jump right into it, Matt?
Yeah, let's
As
go.
I said before, a beefy week in video games from the Nintendo Direct, the Sony State of Play, the Tokyo Game Show. But Matt, who knew that when we woke up this weekend, I believe it was the other day, that there was a massive, should I say unprecedented leak when it came to Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, Matt, but when I think about, the SSS tier, the top tier video gaming links, I don't think I've seen anything of this magnitude when it has come to a video game leak, especially for a game of this caliber. Just in general, have there been, before we get into the GTA 6 leak, do you remember any other big leaks for a high profile title like this, or are there any notable links that come to mind? Notable leaks that come to mind?
For me, not really. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anything at this level of a leak. I don't know if this is just eclipsing all of them in my mind, but I can't even think of like other leaks anymore.
Yeah, I know in terms of subreddits that I follow, video game leaks and rumors, that subreddit is definitely one I follow. And I think a lot of the times when I do follow leaks, it has been, here a demo was data mined, or like a newest update was data mined. This is what's, planned. This is what's upcoming. Maybe like the Street Fighter cross Tekken a few years ago when it leaked that all the DLC was like on disk already. Like, data mine leaks are something, but Matt, this was crazy what happened this weekend. Yeah. But kind of let's go into it, Matt. This was originally posted on GTAforums.com. As I mentioned before, this was also taken from the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, which essentially provided a pretty big summary of what happened this weekend. You can also check that out if you want to, see more details. But the subreddit notes that this is allegedly from the same hacker who hacked Uber a few days ago. Basically, the leak in question is composed of dozens of screenshots and gameplay videos from an apparent early debug version of the game. The leak is in line with what has been reported of GTA 6 so far, showcasing the two main characters doing a lot, and some of the gameplay explores them running, shooting, driving, and swimming. Various in-game GTA world brands are around just to kind of confirm that this does take place in the GTA universe. You'll see subways and trains that say Vice City specifically. Other notes include that your character is able to go prone. There's a 5-star wanted level system instead of the traditional 6-star wanted system. Police will remember the car you're in, and you'll be able to carry people around your shoulders. Bloomberg's Jason Schreier tweeted that he has confirmed with the Rockstar sources that this weekend's massive leak is indeed real. The footage is early and unfinished. And yeah, Matt, just waking up this weekend and seeing this laundry list of different clips and screenshots, what was the first thing that came to your mind when you saw all this?
Honestly, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw or heard about all like these GTA 6 leaks is that I feel bad for the Diablo 4 leaker because they just got super overshadowed.
Matt, I saw a bit of that being mentioned, and I know Diablo has a special place within both our hearts, but Matt, let's shine a light on that. We'll get back to GTA 6, but in terms of what leaked for Diablo 4, is there anything that comes to mind?
Honestly, it's nothing as crazy as as wild as like this GTA 6 stuff, just because I think there's just more general information out there for Diablo 4, but really it's just like about an hour of someone playing as a barbarian, showing off like menus and towns and like stuff like that. Diablo 4 looks like Diablo 4. Want to play, yeah.
True. And from what little I've seen, I think GTA 6 looks like a GTA game. I think it's nice to visually see the two main characters. I know we talked about it a few weeks ago when, again, Jason Schreier reported some of these details. Especially the one that stood out to my mind was the whole fact that it did revolve around this pair of main characters that, took a lot of inspiration from Bonnie and Clyde and to see these characters, what they look like, some of the customization that you can do with them as well. I think seeing a lot of this confirmed kind of still makes me excited. I didn't really dive too much just because I don't know about you, Matt, but to me, I think all the previous GTA initial trailers have been this cultural gaming event where it is such a spectacle. You want to see what kind of vibe they encapsulate, what music they choose to back it up. So I was just glancing here and there at the leaks, mostly just curious to see what the characters actually looked like. But in terms of the entire scale, I think that just seeing everything listed out there and broken up, just through all these multiple posts, the first thing that immediately jumped to my mind was just how demoralizing it kind of feels for the team, for everyone involved there, just to be working on something so, working hard on something for so long that hasn't been officially revealed to the public, and all of a sudden to have all that work just out there in the open. I bet that feels so gut-wrenching, but I'm really curious to see how Rockstar responds. I know the sources have said that, hey, it is true the teams are pretty devastated right now, but part of me is there is that morbid curiosity just to see how Rockstar will officially respond to this, considering the means that were taken to get all this information. I think legal action is definitely in the picture, so I don't think a reveal trailer is in the cards within the next few weeks. But yeah, man, I think just in terms of how the company responds legally, one will be interesting, but two, just my sympathies towards the teams affected by that, because that probably doesn't feel great. But yeah, Matt, just anything else from these leaks that kind of stood out to you?
I'm really also interested in seeing how Rockstar is going to respond to this, because I know in one of these, I know that in one of these leaks there's also mentions for Bully 2, and right. I'm really interested in seeing if that stuff ends up going out as well.
Yeah, and I think touching upon the leaks just a little bit before we move on, I think there were some things that I read that were really interesting to me, just from a fan who enjoys seeing behind the scenes look at game development. I know there was some mention that the main character walking animation is similar, or is essentially the one used in Red Dead Redemption 2, and just all these other placeholder things that are kind of slotted in. So of course, once again, this is a work in progress, definitely unfinished, definitely early, but just the notion of, oh yeah, they reused assets from this Rockstar game and this Rockstar game, or hey, these are texture or billboards from Grand Theft Auto 5. I think that stuff is really interesting to me as well. Just when you're fleshing out the world, what, placeholder items do you use? Matt, as someone with a programming background, does that stuff interest you as well when you see it?
I mean, it honestly just makes sense to me, because right. If they're not going to make final assets, you're not going to put a lot of effort into make the assets, so you might as well just grab what you have. I actually missed earlier that there was a customization leak for these characters, because I was just thinking that the characters that they were showing were just placeholder characters as well. But going through them right now, I did find that outfit and hair change for the female character that I think you might have been talking about. But yes. Even going into just touching back into the Diablo leak, a lot of the stuff in there wasn't even done. They would just be walking in a fully textured area, and then they'd walk into a building and it's just grid lines. And I'm like, oh, that's a good goof.
Yeah, I think maybe it's because I've been following the upcoming Skate game a lot, and I know they released a trailer a few weeks ago that just showed footage from the August playtesting build, just to see everything untextured and just in really rough shape. I don't know, it's an interesting behind the curtains look that I really enjoy. And I know people are saying that, this is just goodwill marketing, but I think it's a really cool look. But yeah, moving back to Grand Theft Auto 6, scrolling through all the different leaks, I think it really did just make me really want to see more information, to see if this is all early Grand Theft Auto 6, I want to see what polished piece of media they will present to the audience when they are finally able to showcase the game for real. Again, it was nice to see the supposed two main characters and all the different customization options, at least for the female lead. And again, I'm just really curious to see how this gets presented. Just seeing the two main characters just made me really excited to know that they are definitely sticking to this route, and to see how they fully lean on that Bonnie and Clyde inspiration. Again, looks really cool. But even though it's really cool to see this behind the scenes look, I think it sucks for the team, of course. But I think at the end of the day, just seeing something so unprecedented is a spectacle in itself. But I'm honestly just ready to see what the polished version looks like and to learn more about when we're going to play it. Just because I think with a leak this severe, I would assume that this gets pushed back. I think, we live in a time where work from home is becoming more common. And what, I guess from like an employee standpoint, what does this mean for that work and home environment? Does that let up for them, or does that mean this game gets delayed because everyone has to switch back to the office? A lot of speculation here, but yeah. So that's kind of how I think about it too, is with a leak this massive and their current infrastructure, does that mean this game gets delayed? So if you're curious, it's out there, go look it up. But yeah, I was again floored just to see how much information came out. It's unfortunate again, but I can't lie, Matt. A part of me does think that, okay, this is the direction they're going on. I want to see what the end result or like the next steps look like. But yeah, Matt, any final thoughts on the GTA 6 leak?
Jaren, us being, Toronto boys.
Yeah.
I really like that this was a leak from Rockstar Toronto.
Oh man, that when I saw that it came from Rockstar Toronto, I felt bad.
I was like, man, classic. Of course, it's Toronto.
Toronto, Matt, of course. Speaking about GTA 6, I think we both know in our heart of hearts that's not coming to a Nintendo platform. So let's move on to the PlayStation. Earlier this week, Sony did have their latest State of Play on September 13th. It was a 20-minute presentation, so I know between the both of us, we gathered some of the key points that happened throughout the 20-minute show. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest ones was the closer, God of War Ragnarok, coming November 9th, 2022. I believe that was announced previously. But they did show off a new story trailer.
Yes.
Matt, as someone personally who hasn't played the latest God of War, I hate to admit it, but the trailer itself did nothing for me, but parts of it did look pretty cool. Matt, do you have any affinity for the latest God of War, and are you looking forward to Ragnarok?
I, just like you, have not played this trailer, but played this game, not just played the trailer, but this trailer actually did really make me want to play this game. I thought this is a very nice, just cinematic kind of overview trailer, and it really actually made me hyped for this game and made me wish that I was more into God of War as a series.
Yes. I know God of War 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 2 were games that I really adored. I really did like the action, the character action game that those two were. And what did interest me about, the God of War remake, not even remake, but reimagining, let's say, on the PlayStation 4 was just how it wasn't as comparable to me personally to, say, a Devil May Cry, which I do kind of relay the first, the initial God of War games too. But this was a more refined version, maybe less style heavy like the Devil May Cry games or the Bayonetta games, but there was this refined elegance to it. I don't know how else to explain it, but there was also brutality there. So it's something I really did respect, but I never went out of my way to play. And just seeing what they've done with Ragnarok, it definitely looks cool. I know the closer at the end, I couldn't tell, since I haven't really been following the series, was he fighting Thor? But I think that final shot looked really dope. And to see, I know his son is older now in this game, and just to see that relationship play out within the trailer made me really curious to play the game. As someone that doesn't have a PlayStation 5 at the moment, maybe when this comes to PC, I'll have played, the last God of War, but for now, this looks cool, but I probably won't play it in the near future.
Yeah, I'm just going to be living vicariously through other people playing this game.
Oh man, I do that with a lot of games these days. But another game that stood out to me was Sin Duality.
Yes.
This is essentially gather resources in your mech with your AI partner. Takes place in a dystopian world with deformed creatures. You're going in your mech. You're mining all these different crystals. I know it was described to have PvE/VP, where you go around this world doing your own thing. You can run around, or you can run into other players doing their own thing, progressing in their own game. But Matt, they might not be friendly. They could be hostile.
I didn't even know this was an online game. I thought this was just like a single player game. Oh, this
think
actually turns me off of this game, Jaren. Down.
There's online elements. I'm pretty sure you can throw this off. But two questions when it comes to Sin Duality. The first, relating to the game itself. Did the trailer do anything for you?
It did. Like, I thought it looked interesting. I thought that, like, just going around, I like the mech design. I like the overall look of the game. It looked interesting enough to me to make me want to play it. But Jaren, this PvE. Oh, Jared, no.
Okay, Matt, the real question. Matt, when a game says it has PvE/VP, does that do anything for you? I'm assuming it does not.
Oh, that makes me not want to play the game. That is an unseller for me.
I think in theory, I like the concept of PvE/VP just because I don't know about you, Matt. I like the potential of running into other people and dancing. But Matt, we all know in online games, not everyone's really friendly like us. I think we're pretty friendly guys, but not everyone is like us, Matt. So,
I can't deal with that kind of game mode. I just it heavily goes against what I like doing in games, which is either PvEing or PvPing, and I don't like being forced to do one of the modes that I don't want to do at that moment.
Right. But yeah, in terms of the story seems to be one of those, hey, catastrophe happened to the world. There's this AI. How do we live with them? Or how do we repopulate society? Everyone's in Cryo Street. Cairo? Matt, I still can't talk. But yeah,
Cryo
I think...
freeze?
Yeah. But Matt, this was an anime-ass trailer. I did enjoy it, though. It looks really cool. I would like to check it out if I get a PlayStation 5. I think it is coming first to PlayStation 5, but there might be a PC version. I didn't look into it. But yeah, definitely
it's multi-platform, yeah.
Okay, cool. Definitely something I want to check out.
Yeah.
Something else that stood out to me was Rise of the Ronin, a new action RPG from Team Ninja. Matt, with the success of Ghost of Tsushima, do you think we are in a new age of samurai Ronin type games?
I don't know. Like, I feel like that genre has always been popular.
Right.
I don't know if it's like fair to say that, just because of Ghost of Tsushima, we're now going to be seeing a lot of like those type of games. Especially since I'm pretty sure Team Ninja has like always been within this genre anyway.
I think in terms of the aesthetic, Team Ninja has definitely been in it, but I think with the success of Ghost of Tsushima, I think we are seeing a lot more of these specifically an action RPG set in the feudal Japan, in between, Rise of the Ronin, that Assassin's Creed Red that was also announced, I think a week or two ago as well. I think it's a setting and aesthetic that people definitely enjoy. I think with Rise of the Ronin, the trailer really was selling on me just because you do have that aspect of the traditional samurai mixed in with, the Western colonization, just with the different British weapons that were shown throughout. So I'm really curious just to see what story they tell and really just how the gameplay feels. Definitely something I am looking forward to or looking to check out, but I believe this was a 2024 title, and Matt, seeing 2024 in trailers freaks me out for some reason.
Jaren, we're almost done 2022. 2024 is really, at earliest, just a year and a few months away.
That's true, Matt. That's definitely true. We also got a story trailer for Stellar Blade. This was formerly known as Project Eve. I believe a lot of people are calling this Korean Bayonetta. I know when the Project Eve trailer did premiere for the first time, everyone did say, hey, this does look like a Bayonetta aesthetically. But yeah, I'm definitely a fan of character action games, as I said before, and definitely something, this is definitely something I want to check out. I think this is coming first to PlayStation 5, but I believe this is also going to be on PC possibly, but...
That threw me off. Like, because for both Rise of the Ronin and Stellar Blade, they both did have PlayStation 5 console exclusive.
Right.
And I'm never sure if that means, like, oh, it's, PlayStation 5 console, like, as a whole, or it's PlayStation 5 console exclusive.
I think generally when it's console exclusive, it means it's just coming between like all the home consoles. It's just going to be on the PlayStation, but I'm pretty sure there has to be a PC version as well. But yeah, it looked cool. Matt, there are some parries in the trailer, and you know how I feel about parries, but I think aesthetically I'll give that a pass, and I'll probably check this out if I ever get a chance.
Yeah.
The last thing that stood out to me was the Tekken 8 being formally announced. Matt, it's Tekken. I know Tekken 7 is a game that I'm bad at fighting games, but I always feel like I should pick up Tekken 7 just to dick around with just in AI battles and to customize my characters.
Yeah.
It was nice to see it formally announced. I did like the transition of that broken chain forming the 8 and then transitioning into the Tekken 8 logo. I'm a sucker for that type of things, but looks cool. Anything else from the state of play, Matt, that caught your attention?
No, those games were actually all the ones that caught my eye as well.
All right.
Yeah, Rise of the Ronin looks interesting. I was really weirded out by that like one scene where he makes fire blades. Wasn't expecting that. Stellar Blade looks interesting. I actually didn't realize that it was a Bayonetta style game. Because I think
Well, to be fair, I think everyone just saw, this is a attractive lady with jiggle physics. This has to be a Bayonetta adjacent game. So it does look like a character action game. I'm not sure if the combat is as fast paced as a Bayonetta, but I did see some slick parries. So I'm actually curious just to see how that ends up playing.
Yeah, and also Synduality looked interesting to me. But I guess not anymore. I'll just stick to checking out the anime for it, and yeah, Tekken 8 made you just wish I knew how to play fighting games.
There was also another major announcement that a lot of my friends were really hyped about, but I think we'll save that for our Tokyo Show grab bag section. But Matt, September 13th. That something that took place earlier that day was the latest Nintendo Direct.
Yes.
This one was a bit more beefier with a lot more announcements. Now let's just get into it. This started off with Fire Emblem Engage, the latest entry in the Fire Emblem series coming January 20th, 2023. Matt,
Jaren?
2 things. Really 3 things, but the first thing that I wanted to mention, January 20th, 2023, that's pretty soon.
Yeah.
I know we hear a lot of different rumors that Nintendo just has all these completed games on the shelf waiting for the right time to release them. But to see them start off with a new Fire Emblem, and for it to come out pretty soon for all things considered, I think that was really surprising to me. And 2, I think the gimmick here is the Engage system, which seems to let you pair up with different Fire Emblem heroes from the past. And the moment I saw that, Matt, I immediately thought, this is what Tokyo Mirage Sessions would have been if it leaned more on the Fire Emblem aspect rather than the, Shin Megami Tensei or Persona aspect. But that immediately stuck out to me. But Matt, how are you feeling towards Fire Emblem Engage?
I think the one thing that really stood out to me for Fire Emblem Engage, which honestly makes me want to play it and hope that I didn't just mishear this line in the trailer, was that they brought heroes in from another world. So I really hope that Fire Emblem is an isekai now.
Now, when I heard that, again, I leaned towards, oh man, this is definitely what maybe Nintendo was hoping Tokyo Mirage Session was going to be. But yeah, I think, Matt, how are you with the mainline Fire Emblem games?
I in concept like them, but I don't like playing through them just because
Right.
I feel like I have to like save scum to make sure, my dudes don't die.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
yeah, like I don't know. I feel like the customization within Fire Emblem games also isn't really as deep as I would want it to be.
Right.
And I always do want to just play through the games, but I think this is a problem with me fundamentally, Jaren, which is that I really like tactical RPG games like Divinity, like Fire Emblem, like XCOM. I guess
so you like tiles, Matt, is
yeah,
what you're
I like
saying.
tiles. I guess XCOM really doesn't fall into this issue that much, but like the things are that one, usually in those games, one of the main storyline aspects is some kind of political intrigue, which I
Right.
find so boring. And two,
Right.
they're always usually very, very lengthy RPGs, or story RPGs.
Definitely true.
Which I also don't like. So fundamentally, I really only like half of this genre, and the other half, really doesn't hit for me, and it makes me sad when I have to sit through a portion of a genre that I don't like to play the portion that I do.
No, I feel that, Matt. So I'm guessing you didn't play Three Houses.
No, I conceptually like Three Houses, but I heard there's a lot of walking and having to do a lot of non-meaningful S-linking.
Right. And yeah, Matt, I think with how positive people speak of Three Houses, I don't know why I didn't pull the trigger and just buy it, considering how highly regarded it seems. And
Same.
I'm wondering if I should jump into Engage just because maybe they brought in a lot of the popular sensibilities from Three Houses into them, the more deeper social connections, the persona, the S-Link system or whatever their equivalent is. And like that type of things seems interesting to me. But at the same time, kind of where you're coming from, Matt, I'm generally not a fan of, this type of fantasy game, like this medieval fantasy setting, especially again with the political intrigues. It really doesn't really do anything for me. That's why, I would like something more, not necessarily modern, but something more, a setting. Like I like a good, here's something modern, something with streetwear aesthetic. I think that's the vibe I want to get kind of experience when it comes to like a tactical RPG. But I don't know, maybe if the chance presented itself, aka it's a bit cheaper, I might jump into Engage just because I think Awakening was the last mainline Fire Emblem game that I played through. So maybe it's something I want to jump in, but I don't know if I can. There are other RPGs that I'd rather jump into that fit my aesthetic better, but I would be curious to see how Engage turns out just because, Matt, it's called Engage, so we got to see what that's about, of course. But Matt, I think rounding the second and what I consider the big three of Nintendo announcements during this Direct, Pikmin 4 was officially announced.
Yes.
Not really anything was shown of it, but Matt, I think between the two of us, you're the bigger Pikmin fan. Are you excited for Pikmin 4, and what are you hoping to see from it?
I don't know. I'm really excited for Pikmin 4. To be honest, the Pikmin 4 thing like kind of threw me off because they spent like the first, 5 minutes of that just talking about Pikmin Bloom, and I don't know. Pikmin Bloom is like kind of old. Like I've just been using it as like a fake pedometer, but like Pikmin 4 is. I don't know where I want like Pikmin 4 to go. I do just want more Pikmin, but I don't actually know what I want out of the game as a whole. I don't know if that like makes sense.
No, I definitely think I know where you're coming from. Matt, speaking about new games, have you tried Tinykin?
I have no idea what that is.
So Tinykin is, I think it's on Game Pass, and it has a lot of similar mechanics to Pikmin, where you're commanding like an army of these tiny little dudes, but at the same time, it's more so sort of like an puzzle platformer with slight combat variations. So I think a lot of people are high on this game. Not only does it scratch that Pikmin itch, but it's really exploring different gameplay mechanics that having a tiny army by your side really adds to. So I think it's something I should check out myself personally, but I was curious if you checked it out as well, or if that actually sounds interesting to you.
Yeah, no, I've never seen this. I'm looking at it like right now. It looks interesting. This aesthetic isn't really one that like I can really say that I'm behind, but if the gameplay is good, the gameplay is good.
Speaking about hoping gameplay is good, I think the final in this trifecta of Nintendo announcements, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, coming May 12th, 2023. Matt, I think I've gone on about this a lot to you, when we were during hiatus, but Breath of the Wild is a game that left a really big impression on me. Something I think fondly of, a game I bought twice. I have it on the Wii U. Yeah, Wii U and the Switch version.
Oh, damn.
And to see Tears of the Kingdom coming up, I think, again, looking pretty soon, May 12th, 2023. I'm excited, but Matt, how are you feeling towards, one, the title Tears of the Kingdom? And I know a lot of people were speculating that, they're hiding the title because there are some spoilers. What do you feel about Tears of the Kingdom, and do you have a sense of where it might be going story-wise from it?
I have no idea where it's going story-wise. Like, I know that, like, Tears of the Goddess is usually something that's, like, in a lot of the, Zelda lore. But, like, in terms of, like, what it's actually going to mean in terms of, like, the story for this, I have no idea.
Over under, does Zelda die within the first, during the introduction of this game?
I don't think so. I think she at worst gets kidnapped, or she most likely gets kidnapped.
Sounds about right. But Matt, in terms of the next installment of Breath of the Wild, I feel like it is another critically acclaimed game that is sought highly. What kind of improvements are you looking forward to, or are you hoping for to play through or play with this coming May?
I think compared to Breath of the Wild, I'm really hoping that the powers are a bit more, or not the powers specifically, but whenever you clear a dungeon, you get a kind of a guardian power in Breath of the Wild.
Right.
It seems like in Tears of the Kingdom, within the, I guess, trailer itself, there was just a bunch of, like, there's that big mural that's going on, and then there are just, like, like 7 tiers around it. And I really hope that, like, if they do kind of do the same thing, those 7 tiers, like, lead to interesting, like, powers. And, like, I'm also just interested in seeing, like, how much the sky and, like, the land stuff are going to, like, interact with each other. I really hope it's more than just basically just, like, 2 worlds. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. When the game was initially announced and, we were getting scraps of information, I know one of the things that came out was the game was a lot more vertical. Did that do anything for you, or are you just whatever when it comes to that concept?
I mean, I think I'm just whatever for it. I felt like Breath of the Wild was actually a very vertical game just because of that climbing mechanic that they had. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited for this, but at the same time, I hope as much as I do love Breath of the Wild, I think I want to see what improvements they've made, especially what they refine. Because as much as I do want the sequel to Breath of the Wild, I want innovation to Breath of the Wild, not just more Breath of the Wild. Personally.
I want like variation to it, because I don't know, Breath of the Wild, like once you get into, I felt mid-game, you kind of settle into a single weapon type. I don't know about you, but I settled into basically a single weapon type. Maybe changing slightly just for like, this problem enemy is like fixed by using this like weapon that I always have anyway. But I'm really hoping that there's more weapon variety or skill variety that you can play with. Like just having, I don't know, other kinds of weapons, or even like more magic or more combat useful magic outside of just like stasis and bomb would be nice. Right. Yeah.
Matt, do they bring back weapon durability?
I think they do. I feel like that's gonna be like a staple for this like series of games.
Right.
I don't know how I would define actually Breath of the Wild anymore. Like, do you think that all the Zeldas are going to follow this kind of a gameplay style, or do you think they ever go back to kind of what was the last traditional Zelda. What was before Breath of the Wild? Not Twilight Princess. Skyward Sword?
I think it was Skyward Sword.
Yeah, do you think they ever go back to like that format of game?
Honestly, okay, here's what I think for some reason. I get based off of, this is how I feel based on no actual and factual information. But when I think about the Switch 2 or whatever the successor to the Switch is, I think we see some sort of Switch 2 version of Tears of the Kingdom, some upgraded version, not necessarily a remake, but an upgraded version. And then
of literal Tears of the Kingdom, not like the next like sequel or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Basically, here's the Game of the Year edition or the complete package with whatever DLC, and maybe updated graphics. That's on the Switch too. And I think moving forward, the Zelda series is, I have no basis of this again, but essentially, 1 year is your open worlds, or the game after this one is a more traditional Zelda game, a la Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword. And then the one after that will be like an open world one where I think the two styles of Zelda can live together, but I don't think we're going to get just more open world Zelda back to back. I think there's still stories you can explore within a more traditionally structured Zelda game, but I think, I don't know, maybe to me the Breath of the Wild games are system showcases where, hey, we're fully comfortable with like this platform, here's our take on Zelda, or the open world form. That's how I feel. Again, I don't know what they'll do, but I think both of them can live on, but I'm not. What do you feel, Matt?
I mean, I sort of feel like that the current iteration of Zelda games of like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are going to be the mainline Zelda style now.
Right.
And that they're going to have like a sub-style that doesn't really go towards like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, that sort of style, but more towards like Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, that kind of like top-down style of Zelda game.
Do you think the quote-unquote realistic Zelda will live in the Breath of the Wild games, and do you think we can get a more traditional Zelda, whether it be like Link to the Past or like Ocarina of Time? Do you think they'll explore the Wind Waker, cel-shaded aesthetic for those ones, or could you see them doing that?
I don't know if they'll follow the exact same aesthetic, but actually, like, just thinking about the Wind Waker line of games, I think that's maybe the style that would actually be sticking around for the non Breath of the Wild type games, like in what was it called? Not Minish Cap. What's the Spirit Tracks? Like where it's a bit more of a freeform 3D, where it's kind of like a mix between, I guess, the previous traditional Zelda style and the 2D overhead Zelda styles. Like I think maybe that's actually more likely to stay around or come back, I guess, technically.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how the future of the Zelda games will pan out, especially with the success of Breath of the Wild and where they lift from each other. Maybe it will be like Pokemon, where we will get our mainline ones, but then we'll also get our Legend spin-offs as well that kind of build towards these other gameplay aesthetics. But yeah, Matt, I think those were like the three big announcements, to me at least, coming from the Nintendo Direct. Quickly touching upon some other announcements. Octopath Traveler 2, does this do anything for you?
I did not play Octopath Traveler 1 because I heard that it's a lot of reading. But it looks interesting to me. Like, I still think the games look interesting, but I think they're just not my flavor.
No, definitely. I think they have a really good aesthetic. They have a really good look, but not my jam, Matt. The new theater rhythm was announced. Final Bar Line launches with 385 songs. DLC songs from the Saga series, Nier, Octopath Traveler, Live Alive, and more will push this over to 500 songs. Matt, are you a fan of the theater rhythm games?
I am, in theory, a fan of them, but I've never played. Actually, no, I did play, like, there was a DS one, wasn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, I played that one, actually. And I realized that I got to the point where I can't keep up with the note chart anymore, and it's like, okay, cool, I guess I'm done with this game.
It's something that I should like because I'm a fan of rhythm games. I know friend of the pod, Mark, loves these games, so I know he's really excited, but maybe it's something I'll check out. but nothing like high on my priority list. Speaking about being high on my priority list, there was a new Bayonetta trailer. I think it's nice to be reminded that the game's coming out end of October, but I don't think I need another Bayonetta trailer anymore. I think I'm just ready for the game to come out.
I mean, it's soon, isn't it?
Yeah, it is soon, so it's a nice reminder. Matt, a remaster of Tales of Symphonia is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Matt, Tales of Symphonia, I think this game means a lot to both you and me.
Yeah.
From the GameCube era. Matt, what does this announcement do for you?
Nothing. For me, it was really, neat. Tales of Symphonia. I'm glad I played it when it came out, because I think if it didn't come out at that time, I don't think I ever would have played it, because I think Tales of Symphonia is the last JRPG I guess Persona would have been the last, the Personas would have been the last one. Tales of Symphonia was the one before that. I think Tales of Symphonia is the only game that I've ever played that I've completed more than once.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And I guess you have no real you just have no real need to replay it another time with this remake, huh?
No, I'm gonna mostly just, I guess, look to see if they've changed anything through YouTube videos. I think that's all the interaction I'm gonna get out of the Tales of Symphonia remaster. But it's very nice to see that it came back.
Yeah, it's definitely something that pulled on my nostalgia strings again. I adore. I think this was I think with me, I came into JRPGs really late. I think my, other than the Pokemon games, even though I played through Final Fantasy VII, it didn't have the same affinity for me that Tales of Symphonia did, as well as I think Final Fantasy. Funnily enough, it was Final Fantasy X too that really made me love JRPGs. Maybe just because I'm a closet pervert, but yeah, just seeing this again, it's one of those. Oh, it's nice to see it come back, but I have no real need to play through it again. For someone that adored Tales of Symphonia, I have Tales of Symphonia 2 on the Wii. Never played that. Never felt the need to play it. So again, it's nice to see these characters again, but yeah, just no need from my end. I
started to. It was okay.
Matt, a Kirby's Return to Dreamland remake was announced. It looks cool. I think since I'm playing through the latest Kirby, whose name escapes me right now, even though I'm kind of playing through it, it's taken a backseat to Splatoon, but I think this looks really neat. The multiplayer looks pretty cool as well.
The multiplayer is wild to me, because I can't believe it's taken this long to introduce a multiplayer where everybody gets to play as a Kirby.
Yeah. Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, Forgotten Stars, something like that. Speaking about the multiplayer, Matt, the co-op in that is bad. I know. Player 2, it does the thing similar to the Mario Galaxy game where player 2 gets this. You play as
it's like a Waddle Dee, isn't
Bandana
it?
Dee.
Oh,
yeah, Bandana Dee or whatever his name is in this game, and honestly, he doesn't get to play with any of the powers. The screen follows player 1, the Kirby. Yeah. So if you're off screen, you get teleported back. I don't know. It's not a fun experience. I like playing.
I think that's always been the case in the Kirby games, though.
Yeah, I don't think the multiplayer is that good, but the game itself is really fun. Speaking about something that looks really fun, Master Detective Archives Rain Code from the makers of Danganronpa. Matt, I think this was aside from the big Nintendo 3. This was the standout to me from the Direct, just because, again, I love the aesthetic that comes out from Spike Chunsoft. So this is definitely something I'm going to check out. What were your thoughts on Rain Code?
See, okay, you said a word in your quick little description that I want to focus on. You said this game looks fun, Jaren.
Yes.
I don't know if this game looks fun to me, but I definitely want to at least read about it. Because I'm actually not even sure did they show any actual gameplay for this, because I'm not really sure what you do in game, or is it just kind of you go talk to dudes type of game?
It reminded me of, I hope I'm not confusing this with another game. I didn't go back to watch the trailer, but it did remind me of a lot of Danganronpa, especially the quote unquote argument scenes where you're kind of deflecting arguments, you're fighting, you're looking at culprits that look like these larger than life monstrosities, not Elden Ring monstrosities, but these caricatures that looked really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
if it is a new play at what was presented in Danganronpa, I think that's something I can really enjoy.
I think the one thing that like really kind of turned me off on wanting to play this game on Switch, Jaren, was at the very end, just that quick little message of launching first on Switch.
Matt, you opened the floodgates. I want to play this game, but I want to play this game on my Steam Deck or on my PC just because I think we are at that point where, honestly, I think Bayonetta 3 will be my limiter test, where I think if Bayonetta 3 doesn't run that great, the only games I want to play on the Switch will come from Nintendo directly. I hate to admit it, but to me personally, when it says coming to Switch first or something along those lines, then yeah, that puts me in okay, I'm gonna wait till it's on PC then. Like it looks cool. I think it looks, what was shown looked pretty fun to me at least. But yeah, when I saw that caveat at the end, I thought, okay.
Yeah, I think I only do play Nintendo games or Nintendo exclusives on Switch. Like I don't think I've ever played any third-party games on my Switch.
No, definitely, man. I think, yeah, pretty much all my Switch games right now are for Switch only. But yeah, man, I think in terms of the Nintendo Direct, that was everything that stood out to me. Was there anything from it that you want to mention?
Yes, Jared, there is the very good JRPG title of Various Day Life. Sharon,
I think we both messaged each other when that name popped up.
Jared, that's such a good title. Like, I based on the gameplay, I don't think I have like any interest in playing this game, but I think just because of the title, I'm going to follow the development of this game like as closely as I can to try to convince myself to play it.
Yes.
There was also the announcement of like 3 or 4 farming games, which was wild, Jared, just to see this direct was what, like 40 minutes, was it?
Yeah, around 40 or so.
Yeah. So just like every 10 minutes to see a new farming game was wild to me.
Basically, as we mentioned during the State of Play stuff, where I feel like Ghost of Tsushima kind of brought forth this premium or quality samurai game wave. Now, did Animal Crossing just bring this new farming wave, especially to Nintendo platforms?
Nah, dude, this has been going on since like Stardew Valley. I'm just surprised that like 4 of them made it onto the same direct. Like,
no, definitely. I think it was just a running meme where, as you said, every 10 minutes there was a new farming game just to be in that. And not only there were farming games part of like their sizzle reels with all these different games, but also individual segments dedicated to them. Like none of them, and that's what weirds me out, where none of them really come to mind, but I just know there was a lot of farming games to be presented.
I mean, I wanna check out Harvestella, see what's up with that. There's a demo that came out that same day that I still haven't checked out, but I've been meaning to, but I've been too busy sweating at Splatoon. And Fae Farm looks okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know about Matt. Like, I fell off Disney Dreamlight Valley, so I don't think any of this does anything for me, but could be cool, Matt. I think in terms of farming and resource gathering, I think I'm more so on the Sin duality like side of things, but there's definitely an audience for these farming games, and though that audience is feasting right now, possibly from all the food that they have harvested or will harvest through these games.
God, I'm still the past like 20 minutes for me have been so sad ever since you said that Synduality is a PvPvE.
Matt, I'm pretty sure you can turn it off. I'd hope you can turn it off.
I don't know.
Or just play offline, Matt. Unless you need an online connect. I guess we'll talk about this again when that game actually comes out, hopefully to the PC as well.
GoldenEye, I'm surprised to see is coming out in the
Matt, the fabled Golden. This has been something that I feel like the legend of the GoldenEye re-release is honestly probably going to be more entertaining than actually playing GoldenEye itself, just because you have all of these rumors and speculations of, oh yeah, Nintendo and Microsoft came to an agreement. Oh wait, Nintendo pulled out last minute. It's done. It's just sitting on the shelf. One of them just has to budge. It's a licensing nightmare. And yeah, Matt, to see it finally be not only announced coming to a Nintendo Switch, the online expansion pass, but to see like Microsoft and Rare retweet it right after for it to come onto the Xbox Game Pass. Matt, what do you think of the most wildest news to come from the GoldenEye stuff where online play is exclusive to the Nintendo online version?
Oh, I didn't even know it was exclusive to the online or to the Nintendo version. Oh, that's wild.
Yep. Well, it's coming to Game Pass. The online is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch version, which probably was the caveat of, hey, Nintendo will only release it if Switch has something exclusive to it, i.e. the online. But I remember reading that and thinking that was the wildest thing, just because, like, to be honest, Matt, in 2022, as much as I have so many fond memories of GoldenEye 007, like, this is the type of release where, especially if it's on Game Pass, where I'll load it up, play through like the first 2 levels of single player mode just to feel what I felt back when I was in the 4th grade or something. And then I'd play like 1 or 2 get destroyed online, and then never touch again.
Like, that sounds about right.
That's probably where I fall for GoldenEye 007. But yeah, just to see online being exclusive to the Switch, I thought that was wild.
That is actually pretty wild.
I don't know, Matt, but yeah, I think in terms of the Nintendo Direct for September 13th, that's really everything that comes to mind. Anything else that...
Jared, how could you forget?
Yes.
How could you forget about the Splatfest?
Matt, they're setting up in the lobby right now. The first post-launch Splatfest was formally announced, which is, what would you bring to a deserted island? 3 choices again, Matt. Team food, team gear, and team fun. Matt, have you made your choice?
Oh, bro, I got my shirt. I'm part of Team Gear.
You're part of Team Gear?
Yeah. Matt? You got your shirt? You got your shirt, Jared?
I'm team food.
Oh, this guy.
For reasons I don't want to go into on the pod, but I think we have our teams. And I don't know. It's not really a Splatfest that I'm like that excited for the choices, but I think it's the fact that there are now 3 teams for the Splatfest, I think, is an interesting dynamic to what choices you can actually, or battles that you can come up with. But again, I think it's going to be, when you have 3 choices, honestly, Matt, I think moving forward, a lot of these Splatfests, like the 3rd option or breaking it into 3 options, I think there's going to be a lot of reaching. I don't know about you though.
I mean, I think it'll be okay. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do with the Splatfests. Like, I know that this one brought up a bunch of, like, I don't know, controversy with people on, oh, why would you ever pick fun?
Yeah.
But like, I feel like just reading into it more, it being a slightly different word in Japanese makes it, like, I don't know if you read about that or not.
No, I haven't. What's the deal, man?
Because basically the word that they use, because it's the same theme in Japan, right? And the word that they use in Japan is uninhabited island instead of deserted island.
Oh, okay.
And when they talk about uninhabited island in Japan, it's a different idea than it is here, because in Japan, you can take day trips to uninhabited islands. You can just take a boat, go to an uninhabited island, and then they'll pick you up again later.
Okay.
So if it's going with that idea, gear grub fun makes a lot more sense than, like, I guess the Western perception of what a deserted island is.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm gonna be stranded, battle royale style, and have to fend for myself. But yeah, honestly, not necessarily feeling it, but I do love the festivities behind a Splatfest. I love how the games lobby reflects this whole festival atmosphere. I think that's what I'm looking forward to most from Splatfest. But yeah, this initial one doesn't really do much for me, but I am excited just to see how it turns out.
Gotta grind that shirt for those ability chunks.
That's also true, Matt. Oh man. But yeah, anything else from the Nintendo Direct that spoke out to you, Matt?
I think the only other thing that stood out to me, not so much that I want to play it, but it reminded me of the series and how I'm still disappointed that there isn't a proper Switch one.
Right.
Is when they showed off Fatal Frame.
Right.
Like, it's another port of an old Fatal Frame, and it just makes me sad that after Pokemon Snap that there isn't a Switch native Fatal Frame, because I feel like this is like the platform to take pictures of ghosts.
No, definitely. I think the Fatal Frame franchise is something that I always wanted to dip my toes into, but I've never really gotten around to. Maybe this is the time I'll finally get to it. But yeah, definitely, especially with the handheld. Again, I know you have to design Switch games with both handheld and docked in mind, but I would be curious to see how. Well, as someone who hasn't played the new Pokemon Snap game, even though he really should, I would be curious to see how they would take advantage of a handheld mode, or just to be able to play a game like that handheld to see if there is some sort of functionality you can explore. Not necessarily for Fatal Frame, but just camera games in general. I think that could create some really interesting gameplay mechanics. Or I know it might be intrusive of, okay, all of a sudden you are playing on your couch, but then you have to jump up and then undock your Switch. But I think there could be a way for you to explore that dynamic. But I understand like a lot of developers might not, especially when you have to consider that the game will ultimately probably run better when it's docked anyway. But that's kind of how I feel for the, at least camera games in general on the Switch. But yeah, definitely Fatal Frame, something I will want to check out eventually. But Matt, of course, I'm a baby and scary games or horror games scare me. So the jury is still out on that one. But yeah, Matt, as we said, Beefy Week, Tokyo Game Show happened. There are only two things that I want to quickly go through. The first being Street Fighter 6. Matt, you know me. I'm bad at fighting games. Every time I get a fighting game, I'm in the lab for like a day or two. I go online, get to bronze or silver at best, and never touch it again. Square off them, saying I'll never buy a fighting game at launch. And then Street Fighter always comes along, will always showcase a trailer that makes it look slick. And I think this time around, just the production and what seems to be a single player aspect is really calling to me for Street Fighter 6. At Tokyo Game Show, they debuted a trailer for World Tour mode. This shows off what seems to be the single player component. You'll see character customization. It shows created characters moving around. I'm not sure how big the open world is, but you have them going around the city, learning different moves. And honestly, I think the most hilarious thing to me was kind of platforming using special moves. I saw a Dragon Punch letting someone climb up a ledge and then jumping from ledge to ledge, them doing a spinning bird kick. So that looks pretty cool too.
That's pretty good.
Also announced in this trailer was Extreme Battles, which seems to be like a custom game mode where you can put different special rules, special gimmicks. And I think this plus the more simplified controls really makes it look like they're really pushing for something that, a casual Street Fighter player or even new fighting game players will sink their teeth into. They also showed off the Battle Hub arcade, which is another arcade lobby, something we're kind of used to from the Arc System games. Matt, when I saw this, the notion of you taking your created character, sitting by an arcade cabinet, having someone walk up to the opposing arcade cabinet and you duking it out. All this did to me was making me want to create my own character, troll the Battle Hub, and just dance in front of arcade machines, Matt. That seems like it's worth the price of admission. They also announced that a closed beta is coming in October, and that in the initial World Tour mode trailer, they showed 4 familiar faces. We saw Dalsim, E Honda, Blanca, and Ken. But in another trailer that they showed off towards the end of Tokyo Game Show, we just saw the full starting lineup get shown. 18 characters at launch, lining up with the leaks from a few months back. I believe Akuma, Rashid, Ed, and newcomer Aki were the only characters on that leak sheet that didn't show that aren't going to be part of the base roster. They're going to be DLC, however, or at least Akuma was announced as DLC. So Matt, again, I swore off buying fighting games at launch, but I think this is sucking me back in. I'm really excited for Street Fighter 6. And I think the last thing I wanted to note from Tokyo Game Show was also, 1/3 of the announcement coming from State of Play, which is that the Yakuza series is going to be rebranded in the West to Like a Dragon, which is the name of the series in Japan. But essentially 3 new games are coming in 2023. We have Ishin, which was announced during the State of Play. This was the long-awaited localization of the Yakuza samurai spin-off. Speaking about samurai games coming to the West. We also have Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, which is a spin-off game coming in 2023. IGN reports that this will connect Yakuza 6 to the upcoming Like a Dragon 8 and star, series protagonist Kazuma Kiryu. I don't know how to say his name, man. I'm bad at names. But Matt, and then of course the next mainline Yakuza game, Like a Dragon 8. I know IGN also reported that in a roundtable interview with Ryuga Gotoku Studio and series executive producer Masayoshi Yokoyama, that the Yakuza games will use whatever system serves its story, even if it means making a party game. Matt, with all this Yakuza news, with all this Like a Dragon news, does this, winding up the mistake zone now to go really quickly, do you have any affinity to the Yakuza games? And does seeing this big these big announcements to the Yakuza franchise, does that do anything to you?
No, it does not. I think actually when I was watching the State of the Play, they were doing the Like a Dragon reveal, and they do the pan to that dude's face and the name reveal, and I'm I have no idea who this person is.
I like the Yakuza games in theory, but I hate to admit it, Matt, I'm only halfway through Yakuza 0 and I kind of dropped off of it. But people are excited for this, and I don't know. It's something I want to definitely get around to, but again, Matt, if I feel that Yakuza 0 is usually recommended to everyone looking in, is a great starting point, has a great introduction to all the characters, but I think if I fell off halfway through, not because the game was bad or anything, just I wanted to play other games before it, I feel I don't know, as exciting as it is just to see how popular this franchise has gotten in the West, to see all these different games announced, I don't know. I think it's going to be difficult for me to sit down and actually play through them, even though it seems like a game franchise that I should be into more than I actually am. But yeah, Matt, beefy week in video games and another beefy episode. I think we should wind down the mistake zone now. A behind the curtain look, Matt, I got up to blow my nose twice during this recording. So I think we went through a lot this week, and I'm actually excited to go through next week. Again, we're going to be discussing the new Cyberpunk Edge Runners anime on Netflix, as well as touching on 2077. But I want to thank everyone out there for joining us in the Mistake Zone this week. We went through a lot of gaming news, and don't worry, next week we'll stop in the anime zone, friends. Next week. But yeah, Matt, I want to thank you, as always, for joining me to discuss our many mistakes, whether that includes our mistakes of following video games, our mistakes of being unable to pronounce things, or just the mistakes in general of trying to podcast when your nose is running. But Matt, thank you once again, and please take it away.
This has been the Mistake Zone, and we're all out of leaky noses.